Afternoon, one. Good afternoon, those who are joining us and those who are going to be joining us. They will continue joining us as we move on. My name is Lamlan Moyo, and I'm going to be your instructor for Shemtrek. Welcome to our live lesson where we are going to be talking about Introduction to Occupational Health and Safety. Please feel free to ask questions. If you are not attending right now and you are listening to our recording, then you can be able to post questions either on our online campus, which is the MOOC, or you can also join us on social media, ask us questions, or you can come on WhatsApp and ask. So in terms of questions, you don't need to worry. You can be able to ask right now. You just raise your hand, we talk, or you can ask later individually on WhatsApp, or you can be able to ask on any platform or even email. Just find ways of communicating with us. Right. Without further ado, let's get into why are we meeting today. We are meeting today because we are going to be talking about Introduction to Occupational Health and Safety. Introduction to Occupational Health and Safety is presented to you by Satety. Now, let's first look, why do we need occupational health and safety? What exactly is occupational health and safety? So that for the benefit of people who are joining us for the first time, for the benefit of people who are dealing with occupational health and safety for the first time, they should be in a position where they understand why or what is it all about, right? Let me start here where we would try to define the issue of occupation. Occupational, why is it occupational? Anything that is occupational, good people, means something to do with workplace, right? So as we are saying, this is occupational health and safety, it basically means that it has something to do with workplace. That is why it's occupational, because health and safety can be anywhere, right? Health and safety can be at home, and maybe we can call it domestic health and safety. Health and safety can be your own health and safety, which has nothing to do with work. Probably we can call it personal health and safety. Health and safety can be elsewhere, which has nothing to do with work, so they can have different names. But this one in particular that we are talking about is occupational health and safety, basically meaning to say it has everything to do with workplace, hence it's called occupational, right? So since it is an occupational health and safety, it means that it is being controlled. It is a health and safety that is being regulated. So we need to be in a position where we find out who exactly is regulating this occupational health and safety. We need to be able to understand why does it have to be regulated. And we also need to understand how is it being regulated, right? Also, since we are saying it's occupational, it basically means that it is available or it covers any type of work. You can be a taxi driver, it means you are working there, therefore occupational health and safety applies to you. You might be in a restaurant, it means it applies to you. You are working in a shop, it applies to you. Airport, construction, mining, even here at Lusatec Training Academy, which is a school, we are also obliged to follow occupational health and safety. Whether it's in a hospital, it's a clinic, or wherever, as long as there are people working, then we call that occupational health and safety, because there is an occupation, and the word occupation has something to refer with a workplace or a place where people conduct work for a reward, right? So that is why it is called occupational. Then we move on to the next letter. The next letter talks about health. What is it that we need to focus so much to say health, right? When we are talking about occupational health and safety, we are worrying, or we are referring to the general fitness of a human being, or a general fitness of a worker in terms of physical fitness. Is the person physically okay? Right? Is the person physically okay? Like some of you are seeing me here presenting this course or presenting today's lesson, and you can see that I am physically okay. That's just one aspect. It does not mean I'm 100% healthy. But one of the aspects you should look into for somebody to be referred to as healthy can be or could be the fact that I am physically fit, or you are physically fit where you are as you are attending, or when you will be listening to this recording, right? Secondly, you might find out that am I mentally okay, psychologically fit? Because I might be physically fit there, but mentally I might not be 100% okay. And that person is not healthy. Then I'm not healthy if I'm the one being referred to, right? So we need to look into these two aspects for now. We have got physical fitness, we have got mental fitness, which is your psychological fitness. We also need to find if a person is spiritually okay, right? Is spiritually okay? I'll put in isiZulu, umoya womuntu, emoyeni, umuntu right in moyeni, angithi, right? In Sesotho maybe bophilong bo motho, motho bophilong ba hae, moya wa hae o na or ha o sharp, right? Impilo yomuntu nje emoyeni, is it fine or not? So spiritually, a person needs to be okay as well, to be settled where you are, feeling belonging, recognized. That is what most people are fighting for. That is why most people are in wars. They want to be recognized. Some people at homes there, they are fighting because they want to know, is this my father? Is this my mother? Right? Because you want to belong. It's the spirit that is forcing you to do that. Therefore, a person needs to be spiritually okay. Somebody must not suffer emoyeni. Right. Let's move on to the number 4. Number 4 aspect, which is also important, is financial aspect. So for you to then say somebody is healthy, for you to then say, is Lamlani healthy? For us to say, is Nosipo healthy? Or can we say no Zipo is healthy? It's quite not easy, because we might look at you physically and say you are okay, and yet mentally you are not. Or we might look at you financially, yet physically you are not, or yet spiritually you are not. So at the end of the day, when we say occupational health and safety, the health part is talking about all those things, to say you need to look into all the parts of human well-being for it to be then said this person is close to 100% healthy. Then we know that's how it works out. Okay, so that's the health part. So we are saying occupational health, which means we are saying occupationally physical fitness. Look into that. Occupationally mental fitness. You look into that. Occupationally financial fitness of a person. You look into that. Occupationally spiritual fitness of a person. You look into that. All those aspects need to be looked into or looked at. By who? By people responsible with occupational health and safety of the company. Usually that's your safety officer. Usually that's your risk manager. Usually that's your SHIREP. Usually that's your safety assistants, and so on and so on. Any of those jobs that you find in occupational health and safety. Okay, so my good people, we have spoken about occupation, we've defined it. We have defined the health aspect. Let's define the safety aspect. For a workplace to be safe, because we are saying occupational health and safety, so it's occupational safety. Occupational safety means that at the workplace, we are free from harm. We are free from injuries, right? So that's quite a huge thing. Because if then people are not safe, it basically means that they might be harmed, they might be injured. So at the end of the day, if I would just cover what is exactly occupational health and safety, we are talking about the well-being of human beings at workplace where they are going to work without being exposed to harm and injuries, right? So today we meet because we would want to be part and parcel of people working in occupational health and safety. Therefore, we ask yourself simple question: what exactly are you going to be doing as a occupational health and safety officer, as an occupational health and safety practitioner, as a SHIREP, as a risk manager, as whatever position you have in the occupational health and safety? The question is, what are you going to be doing to make sure that people who are working at your workplace are free from harm, they are free from injuries, they are physically fit, they are mentally okay, they are financially okay, and they are spiritually okay, and many other items we might include to satisfy occupational health and safety. So that's in a short the whole thing about occupational health and safety, right? Now let's then move on now to say, but why do we need to deal with occupational health and safety at work? There are many of reasons. One of the reasons is that if you do not take care of your employees as an employer, you are bound to suffer losses. So occupational health and safety is very important on the side of the employer. It's also very important on the side of the employee. So if you would look at the side of the employer, you will realize that the employer has got a lot to benefit when you are dealing with occupational health and safety of your employees, right? Number one, you would want to make sure that your workplace is safe and there is well-being by ensuring a safe and healthy work environment for all employees by protecting them from harm, right? So by doing so, you can actually derive a lot. We are going to go back to that statement, but we can derive a lot from that. When we say an employee needs to ensure that there is a safe and healthy work environment for all employees, and he or she must protect them from what? From harm. Then that's one of the reasons why occupational health and safety is very important. Number two, it does reduce risk. When you are somebody who is so involved in occupational health and safety, you know that it does reduce what? Risk. So risk reduction on its own, it is a very important aspect of occupational health and safety. Why is it so? Because when you reduce risk, then your workplace will be free, or will have less accidents, will have less injuries, it will have less illnesses. Why do you need that? We are all going to go back to that. Again, why OHSK should matter at our workplace? Why is it very important? Legal compliance. Legal compliance, it's another issue because compliance in OHS is actually mandatory by law. In South Africa, every company is forced to take care of what? OHS, so that it can avoid penalties, it can avoid legal issues, right? Okay, another thing that is also very important, which we might not put a price there, but it's very important, is the productivity and the morale of employees. When you are working at a place where there is security, where there is safety, where there is people taking care of your occupational health and safety, you feel safe. Therefore, you are going to work properly, right? And as you are working properly, you are going to increase production. So your productivity rate will then increase, right? At the same time, you will work with morale. Morale, it means you are happy, you are in the jovial moments, you are happy, right? So that is most of major reasons why we actually say companies need to take care of their occupational health and safety. Now, if you would check all these four matters that I have raised, these four important matters that I've raised, let's just go through them one more. We're saying OHS matters for safety and well-being of people. it reduces risk, it is for legal compliance, it also increases production and morale. So all those things, if you check them, where are they going or which channel are they going? They are going to save you costs as a company, right? So every company wants to save money. There is no company that wants to pay. So if a company is going to pay a lot, then we have an issue here, right? So how do you avoid paying a lot? By reducing your costs through complying with occupational health and safety. For instance, if you are going to allow or leave your employees to be so injured, they are going to be injured, they are going to be put in harm's way, they are going to be harmed, therefore you are going to be suffering. Let's see how a company can suffer if it does not take care of its employees. Let's look into how can a company suffer if it does not take care of its employees, OHS, right? Number one, employees are going to be harmed or injured. And if an employee is harmed, there are a lot of things that will happen. Number one, work has to stop. So if work is going to stop, then it basically means that there is no money coming in, right? Think for a situation, you are in ShopRite, you are in Pick and Pay, you are in any supermarket there, and somebody is hurt. Maybe is a steel operator or is a packer, a merchandiser, or whatsoever. That person is hurt. It means the job stops. When the job stops, it means that money is not getting into the company. So we have a problem there. When a job stops because somebody has been injured, you are forced probably to hire somebody else to cover this space. Somebody's broken leg must go home, must go to hospital. So you need to hire a new person to come and fill in the position. Hiring a person is very costly. You need to issue adverts. You need to have interviews. You need to print. You need to waste time interviewing people. You need to start capturing these people into the payroll, into the system, deal with SARS, deal with a lot of things. There is a lot of things that might be wasted by just hiring a new person. So you can't be in a position as an owner of the company or manager of a company or an employee of a company who does not care about OHS because there are costs involved. You can't wake up and say, no, I don't care, I'll employ another person. The person you are going to employ will bring you costs, right? Another cost is that a new person, when you bring a new person to fill in the position of this one who has been injured, it means that this person is new, need to be trained. So there are training costs. This means this person is new, he or she might break things because he's still new, he's still getting used to the situation. So in the process of breaking things, in the process of making mistakes, in the process of being slow, in the process of being too fast and so on, that will be a cost to you as a company. So at the end of the day, you will realize that a company needs to take care of its employees because if it does not do so, it will suffer. Right? Then let's move on to the next step here and also talk about other than reducing costs, we have already mentioned that for legal compliance. Why legal compliance? In South Africa, occupational health and safety is guided by a very important act, a very, very important act called Occupational Health and Safety Act, Act 85 of 1993. And of course, there are regulations after the effect. Let me go back a little bit and explain how an act come to be and how it works. We all have probably witnessed Parliament. We all probably have been in a position where we have seen people debating in parliaments and so on, right? After they have done all those things, they pass a bill. When they pass a bill is then taken to the president, who together with his cabinet will look into that bill, and then the president signs that bill into law. Now it changes from being a bill to become what? An act. So once it has been signed by the president, for example, right now we're talking about President Ramaphosa, maybe he has been signing a lot of bills lately and they are causing havoc wherever they are. I think those who are following news, we've spoken about Land Appropriation Act, something like that. There is also what is called the Bella Act about education, and then there are many other laws that the old man has signed of late. So when these bills are signed to become acts, then they are moved to become under the custodian of a particular department or a particular ministry. In this case of ours, we're talking about Occupational Health and Safety Act, which was passed in 1993, long back ago. But it was then moved to what? To its department. Which department is responsible for this act is the Department of Labor, which is now called Department of Employment and Labor. So Department of Employment and Labor is the department that is responsible for making sure that this act is followed. It is still the same department that has to make sure that it appoints people who take care of this act. It is the same department that makes sure that it appoints people who are going to be inspectors. So we do have safety inspectors, occupational health and safety inspectors, each and every town. Each and every town has got its own inspector. In this regard, it basically means that if you are here in Fried, or you are in Newcastle, you are in Johannesburg, you are in Toyando, wherever, that particular area where you are, there is an inspector appointed by the Department of Labor to move around with his team to end up doing these verifications, doing site visit, doing site inspections. Right? Let's see what other things that the department does. Also, the department is then supposed to make sure that it creates regulations that needs to be followed for the act to be implemented. So you will see that when we talk about Occupational Health and Safety Act, it goes together with the regulations. So there is an act, and then to work, you would need to have your regulations also being followed. So we do have regulations that were actually implemented somewhere around 2014 together with the act. So ladies and gentlemen, make sure that if you are really serious about understanding this subject of occupational health and safety, you need to be in a position where you understand the Occupational Health and Safety Act in and out, right? Of course, there are certain sections that are of great importance that I will touch base into, or I will show you where to look into so that it can become faster for you to understand the act. And then other parts you can always check on them later on. Okay, let's then move on to the purpose of why do we need to end up having a safety officer? Because now we are all saying we want to be safety officers. We want to be safety officers. What is it that is being a safety officer? Right? We will need to understand that there are sections inside the Occupational Health and Safety Act that forces companies to actually comply. We will talk about Section 8 before we talk about other sections. We'll talk about Section 8. Section 8 actually talks about the duties of an employer. So you must understand that now, if you are running a company, basically you become the owner of the company, you might have to appoint other managers to manage for you, because you can't just run the company on your own. You then need to have other people to assist you. So you might say you are the CEO yourself, so you are the owner of the company, you are the CEO, or you can call yourself managing director, or you can call yourself director, whatever you want to call yourself. But you will need at some point to appoint other people to work for you as managers. So you as the CEO, together with your team of management, you are categorized as the employer. You are the employer. And then the rest of other people on the other side are employees. That's how this act would view you like, right? So in this situation, we are saying, when we say employer, 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 you must know that we are talking about all the supervisors, the managers, the owner, the CEO, and other directors. All of them, they are categorized as the employer. So there are certain duties that the employer is supposed to actually be so serious about in terms of occupational health and safety. First of the duty is clear. It says provision of a safe working environment for all people, right? So as an employer, you will realize that you have got certain number of traffic that are going to be coming into your workplace. There are a lot of different traffic. I would categorize them as traffic. We have got human beings who are the community. There is the community where you are working, right? So the community are part and parcel of people whom you need to take care of their occupational health and safety, because they can be affected by what you are doing at work. That's one. So you have a duty to provide a safe environment for them. We also have other traffic, which is what? The human beings who are working on your site, or human beings who are working at your workplace. These are the employees. They also need to be taken care of. You also have a set of traffic coming from human beings who might visit your site. Either they are suppliers, or they are customers, or they are inspectors, or they are just general visitors. Those people also, you need to provide for their occupational health and safety. They need to be safe. So you need to provide a safe working environment for them. You are also going to have traffic of vehicles, because as you are using a vehicle, or somebody is using a vehicle will not just damage other vehicles, it will also damage human beings. People will be affected by your vehicles. So you need to take care of their safety, their well-being. We have got plant, we have got equipment that is being used. We have got materials such as raw materials that are being used at your company. All those things, if you categorize them, they become part and parcel of the traffic that is going to be getting in and out of your workplace. We also have other uninvited traffic that might come naturally. So animals, it might be livestock, your cows, your cattle, your goats, right? Your dogs, your cats. People have got info wherever they are. They do have goats out there. They do have cows out there. They do have whatever they're taking care of. It might come to your site. It might come to your workplace. Therefore, you need to be able to understand that safety does not just end here. It also broadens to other things, or other people, or other types of traffic that might actually be coming closer or to your workplace. Therefore, you need to think broader along those ways. So, Section 8 stipulates that you need to provide a safe workplace, safe environment. So in the process of doing so, what does the employer do? Employer starts creating positions such as the one we are talking about right now, either being forced by a regulation, or by looking into his or her own ways of doing things and realize that, no, I now need a sheriff, or I need sheriffs, I need first aiders, I need fire marshals, I need safety officers. So in the process of employers trying to achieve a proper health and safe environment for people or for its employees, then they are forced to actually end up creating positions that are similar to the one that we are talking about right now, such as being a safety officer. So that's where we come from as safety officers, that our positions were created for us to fulfill what the employer needs to fulfill according to the act. So at the end of the day, that is why safety officers need to be treated as managers, or safety officers need to understand safety management, because you are being given a job on your shoulders to manage safety on behalf of the owner, or on behalf of management, or on behalf of the employer. So that is where our job becomes very important as safety officers, deep down. All right, let's move on, and I'm going to project using a PowerPoint here so that we can be able to actually see. Hang in. Let me present. Let me present this window here so that we can look into it, all of us. Right. There is a presentation. I'm going to just rush straight to the list of parts of the act that are of great importance when it comes to understanding occupational health and safety. Like I said, good people, that you cannot be a safety officer who does not understand this act together with its regulations. Therefore, wherever you are, make sure that this act I am presenting right now, it's an act that you do not forget about, right? You should always have this act handy. Okay, let's see these sections. I think they are clear if you are seeing them there, that you will see that there is section 7, section 8, section 14, section 17, 19, 24, and 29. This does not mean other sections are not important with people. I am raising points where these sections, you should know them by heart. I don't know how, but you need to be understanding or knowing that what is in section 7, what is in section 8, 14, 17, 19, 24, and 29. Even though I am not saying the other parts are not important, because they are absolutely important. But these ones, you can't forget them. Because section 7, it talks about you being responsible for making sure that your company has got health and safety policy. We all know what a policy is. It's a document that is scripted or that is drafted to show a direction which a company is taking on a particular topic, right? Section 8 talks about employer duties, right? There are quite a number of duties there that an employer needs to make sure that they are there. Section 14 talks about the employee's duties, because you can't just ask the employer to have duties, and when as an employee, you are not also doing your part. So it's a two-way traffic, give and take, right? Then you would also want to understand how these health and safety sheriffs are needed, how they are appointed. You would also want to know how to construct a SHE-REP or a SHE committee, which is section 19. You would also want to know section 24, where you will be talking about incident reporting. You would also want to know section 29, where you will be talking about how the inspectors are to affect you at the end of the day. But it does not mean that you have ended the whole issue of knowing the act. Let me also brush off by also indicating where, according to Lusatec, where are you going to be getting this information for you to be able to understand Occupational Health and Safety Act, understanding the whole process of being a good safety officer, understanding the whole process of studying occupational health and safety. Right. At Lusatec, we do offer you an opportunity for you to study online as well as physical. So it all depends how you are studying. And from time to time, I'll pop in, or one of my instructors are going to be popping in to do this talking, so that sometimes it becomes face to face, so that you can Sometimes we do talk on WhatsApp for those who are following us on WhatsApp. Sometimes we do talk on our Facebook pages. Sometimes we also post on our TikTok pages where you can be able to just see generally what is this occupational health and safety. However, you will see that there are modules that are sent to you. If you want them direct to you, you can request them via WhatsApp, or you can go to our LMS, our student learning system, where people are learning online, and you can easily download the textbooks to your phone, and you can be able to read them one by one. There are two important books that you are going to find. I am going to present them just now. I'm just going to present them just now so that we can just check. Okay, there you are. You are going to find this textbook on your learning site. You are going to find this textbook written that understanding of OHS Act and regulations. Basically, this is a summary, right? What is done here is that we have summarized, right, the Act into small notes together with the regulations. So it talks about overview of the Act. It then talks about overview of the regulations. It quickly talks about safety representatives. It quickly talks about HIRA. It talks about incident investigation, and it talks about health and safety committees. So it's just a textbook that we created in such a way that it becomes a shorter version of you understanding the Occupational Health and Safety Act together with its regulations. So if I were you, I would make sure that I visit this book from time to time just to refresh myself then. Let's move to the next book again that is of great importance. You will also find this textbook in your in the package. Let me just make it smaller so that everyone can see it, right? So we will also be able to find this textbook here, which says Occupational Health and Safety Act and Regulations 85 of 1993, full version, right? This is the 24th volume or edition of it. So inside this document, it's the entire OHS Act and the regulations. And the first one I've shown you, it's a summary. This one, I'm showing you the entire textbook. You can see that it's around 262 pages, so it's quite a huge, voluminous textbook for you to go through, referencing, and you can even own it for yourself. It's given by Lusatec there. Make sure you use it with people. Let me move on to the next textbook that you might also find it interesting for you to check on. We do have Occupational Health and Safety Act, yes. We also have this one called Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act, which is called also COIDA in short. So with COIDA, it's also a document again that is briefly describing what exactly is about compensation when somebody has been hurt or has been injured or has got diseases from workplace. Please make sure that you also refer to this book. Let's check also other books that we are going to be finding there. You are going to find your module number 1. Right? Module number 1, my good people. It's exactly what we have been talking about here, which is organization of health and safety management. It would introduce you to roles and responsibilities of SHIREPs. It will talk to you about legislative requirements. It will talk about definitions, concept of behavioral safety management, and so on. So you will have an insight of what exactly is needed there. You will move to module 2. With module 2, you are also going to find that it talks about HIRA. What are hazards? what are the risk assessment? How do you conduct the risk assessment? So it is your other textbook which you are going to find where to talk about occupational health and safety risk assessment training there. So you will do also then move on to book three. Book three there, it will talk about tools that are needed when you are actually managing and implementing health and safety, right? So it will talk about how do you develop meetings at workplace, how do you chair them, how do you take minutes, how do you record safety things. It will also tell you how do you remove employees from unsafe and unhealthy workplaces. Good people, you will then move on to module 4. Module 4 is one of your modules that will talk about occupational hazard, which is called working at heights. At some point, people are going to work at heights at your company or wherever you are. So we need to be prepared to face the risks that are associated with people working at height. Therefore, as Lusatec, we do offer that textbook for people to read and understand what's there. Let's move on to module 5. It talks about emergency. All right, we do have emergencies that we are going to meet at our what? At our workplaces. One of the emergencies here is that somebody might actually get seriously injured or hurt to such an extent that they are now in need of basic life support, which we call first aid, right? So you will meet also a textbook there that talks about first aid at level 1. It will train you, it will equip you with ways of dealing with situations like this one. And then module 6, you will meet a module that talks about another emergency, which is fire hazard. So sometimes we are also going to be faced with fire hazard. Therefore, you will need to understand these things here. We're also going to be talking about hygiene at workplace. We are also going to be talking about introduction to management, general introduction to management. And then lastly, we are going to talk about how to create a safety file. Because our feeling is that you cannot be a safety officer who does not understand how to create a safety file. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what we wanted to discuss today in our lesson introduction. Of course, when we meet tomorrow, same time at 12 o'clock, we are now going to be getting deeper into items that we highlighted today. Today it was an introduction, therefore we needed to just go there. Don't forget that you need to log into your learning portal where you are going to find assignments, you are going to find tests, and you write them. And the results are going to be coming to you via email or via phone at some given time. At this moment, can I take questions if there are any questions? If there are no questions, then we can always meet on different platforms. Any questions? All right. Let me just assume that questions are going to come on different platforms. People can ask via WhatsApp, people can ask via emails or any other type of